Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You got the Pokemon Professor here, and today I'm bringing you my draft analysis for Draft Jam 1. Draft Jam 1. This is a draft league hosted by Keegan, and he and all the other coaches will obviously be down in the description below, so make sure to check them out, show them some love. A lot of good players I've never played before, players I have played before, so I think it's going to be a difficult league, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. So I want to give a big shout outs to Keegan for asking me. Going into this is not just a typical draft league, but this is a draft league kind of geared towards the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I believe as Keegan worded it, meta. Basically, we have eliminated, or he has rather, the top tier threats. So there's no Sneasler, right? There is no other things. I believe Roaring Moon is still in. No Sneasler. All of our OU threats. No Meowscarada. No Great Tusks, and a couple other mons that I'll try to leave a little image down below for that are out. But essentially, he went off of the OU stat usage and eliminated a lot of them and made it somewhat like a UU draft. So I was really excited. Going into this, that kind of implied a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things that impacted was going to be the amount of fairies and the amount of hazard control. Specifically rapid spinners. So I knew that hazard control and fairies were going to be a big must, if I'm being honest. Like, yes, we still have Terra types. Yes, something can still Terra into a fairy. But pigeonholing something into that makes a world of difference. So really excited to get into this draft and excited to discuss my picks with you guys. Games will be going up on Saturday. Team builders will hopefully be up the day before on Friday. I may try to mess around, have a little fun, see what Chef Boyardee can cook up here. And they may be combined. I may not go as in-depth, but we'll see. But before I hop into it, I also want to say I pitched everybody else. I'm going to pitch myself. Drop a sub. We are on our way to 500, and your boys are trying to get there. So going into this, 14 coaches, I was pick number 4, so I knew I wanted hazard control with my first pick, just to kind of eliminate that off the board. So my first pick is actually Cinderace. Cinderace, super fast mon, right? What is it, base like 119 speed? Let me see here. Double checking, yeah, base 119 speed. Gives me fast offensive pressure. It gives me Will-O-Wisp, it gives me U-turn, it gives me momentum, and it gives me that court change that I was talking about in hazard control. I really am trying to base this whole draft around momentum-based things and trying to take advantage of that aspect. I don't know if I've ever drafted specifically with this like one end goal, so I'm trying to push myself, right? I'm trying to make that happen. And I felt that Cinderace was a great glue piece for that because it gives me momentum, it gives me great stab with Libero, it gives me just really hard hitting physical attacks. I have to hit stuff. Once I drafted it, the more I looked into it, the more I realized I got 120 base power gunk shot with an 80% accuracy. I got pyro ball with a 90% accuracy. I got high jump kick, 90% accurate. So hopefully we hit our stuff. But I like it for my first piece. Help me with speed tiers. And then my next piece, I went with Enamorous. Again, talking about those fairy types, right? As far as I remember, there is no Clefable, and I get that's just one fairy. But with 14 coaches, the difference of one fairy may be the difference in you drafting a fairy. So I knew I wanted one real early on, and then I also wanted something that was just very spammable, right? Talking about momentum, if I can get something like an Enamorous in, Enamorous is just going to be click and Moonblast, right? Spec, Scarfed. It could be the contrary superpower. It just does a lot of damage. Base 115 attack, 135 special attack. It has agility. I can set up in a Calm Mind if I'm not the contrary set. It gives me Earth Power to still hit those steel types. I want to switch into the fairy moves, Mystical Fire as well. I have Sludge Bomb. Just a lot of cool little coverage moves. Fast Taunt. So I have Fast Taunt with both Enamorous and Cinderace. I have the Healing Wish. Just a cool mon that I'm excited to try. I've never really tried Cinderace or Enamorous in a legit Wi-Fi thing. So what better time than now? Going into my third pick, I knew I needed a ground type, right? We still had things like Zapdos. There was still a Raikou. There's still just electric types, right? Raging Bolt even. So Raging Bolt's there. You have to have a ground type. And I went with Crocodile. Crocodile is really cool because it gave me both the ground and the dark type. It's another mon that allows me to get in and really pressure my opponents with Moxie if they're expecting Intimidate. It has Scale Shot, so I can boost my speed. If I can pick up a KO with Moxie from a Scale Shot, I mean, that's a free DD, right? Knockoff is so free. EQ, very spammable. It gives me rocks, it gives me another taunter, it gives me a good speed tier, right? It's not super slow. It has a lot of other little niche coverage moves, I dare to say. Like I've got Fire Fang, Grass Knot. I talked about getting up rocks, Outrage for Dragon. Granted, I also have the Breaking Swipe, Skitter Smack, just a lot of fun stuff that I think Crook is going to be very fun to bring, kind of utility based. And I do like to draft utility mons, so they aren't pigeonholed into the one role. And I think Crook is that. It can be AV, it can be Focus Sash Lead, it could be Scarfed, it could be Banded. So I really like Crook. So trying to, now that I've got my main pieces, the stuff that I need for a draft, a Raging Bolt answer, a Roaring Moon answer, right? I need my Fairy, I need my ground type, I need my dark type with stuff like Deoxys Defense still there. I want to focus on that pivoting. So my next pick is going to be Alomomola. Alomomola, going to be Ponyo again this season, right? I've used Ponyo to pretty good success in the KCDL Ubers League that I'm in. So I'm really hoping I can use this again. It's a great bulky mon. Regenerator's awesome. With me trying to base my draft around pivoting, I knew I needed Alomomola to make that happen. I need something to come in, take a hit, slow flip, turn out. Be able to get a wish up, right? I have good little coverage moves. I have Luring Voice and other things that can catch my opponent off guard. So it's not just pigeonholed into this Rocky Helmet or AV set. You could throw a band on it, right? 75 attack. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but you're bulky enough you can come in and take a hit. Liquidation is rather free against a lot of opponents' teams, just against teams in general, right? Water is just such a good typing. I've got Body Slam, go for the Choice Band Para if I can. So really like Alomomola, a good defensive glue piece for my team, and excited to use Ponyo again. So going into my fifth pick, I was tempted between two mons. I love Conkeldurr. It's one of my favorite mons in Draft League, but I wanted to try something different. Meowscarada was taken out of the draft, and I was trying to think of like, what could I use for a Meowscarada, right? What could I do to kind of still get that fast offensive pressure that Meowscarada gave me? I love the coverage moves for it. So I ended up going with Mienshao. Now I get it doesn't have spikes, right? It doesn't have the T spikes. Its base speed is a little bit lower, but I have Terra Mienshao. Open Terra, I can Terra into any typing. It does have the Regenerator ability, which is something Meowscarada doesn't have. So maybe I need something to take a couple special hits. With its speed tier at 105, it having access to stuff like Trailblaze, sometimes I don't have to invest solely in my speed, right? Maybe I could make it a bulkier AV set and then just get my speed boost from the Trailblaze and be able to outspeed whatever I need to. CC, very spammable. Triple Axle, very spammable. Knockoff, U-turn, right? It has SD. It gives me a lot of fun moves that I can use with Mienshao. And then the Terra typing, if I can get an immunity and set up a free SD or a free Trailblaze, that may be GG's, right? So very excited to use Mienshao this season. Around this time, I want to go ahead and draft another one of my Terra captains because if I don't now, they'll be gone. So I draft Terra Hydreigon. Terra Hydreigon. I think this thing's going to be awesome. I love Dragon Dark typing and the fact that it's 4-time weak to Fairy, right? A lot of teams are going to try to prep for that Fairy weakness, and I could throw Terra Steel on there. I have the Levitate ability. I could throw Terra Poison on there. With the Levitate ability, I immediately take away one of those. Terra Poison, I get the Resist to Fighting type attacks, something else that could be used to try to check Conkeldurr. This thing is, again, kind of bulky in itself. So being able to set up something like a DD or anything like that, where I'm just Specs or I'm Scarfed, I eat a hit, I take no damage, and then I drop a fat Specs Draco, right? Nothing truly wants to take that from Hydreigon. It gives me a lot of good coverage moves. I'm talking about the Draco. Dark Pulse is very spammable. Whatever Terra type I want to be is going to be nice for it. Another possible AV mon, it gives me momentum and U-turn. It also gives me stealth rock, so Crook isn't pressured to be the only rocker for the team. So really like Hydreigon. I think Terra Hydreigon is just going to be so sick once I get the hang of it. Talking about pigeonholing and forcing mons to be certain things, I draft the glue man, Mew. Mew is going to be somebody that I've used in the past, but excited to bring it back. I don't really know what I expect from Mew this season, but it's going to do what I expect it to. It's going to be the lead hazard set. It's going to be the revenge killer. It's going to be the setup mon. It can be whatever I want it to be. I like having another rocker, another spiker, or my only spiker, I guess I should say at this point. And being able to set up, being able to just be a nuisance, right? Go for a toxic or something like that, and just kind of whittle down stuff and just be a huge pain in the ass. Yeah, just making sure it gets toxic. Outside of that, they're just fun coverage moves. I can be crazy, calm mind, SD, D-dance, whatever I need it to be. And then everything else, I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I was really tempted to make this a Terra Captain, but I just, truth be told, was kind of hypnotized by Terra Hydreigon. That shit sounds sexy, so I wanted to try it out. Maybe switch the Terra Captain to Mew at some point. I don't really know, but we'll see. We'll see. So looking at my draft, I'm really content with how it is so far. I suffered a few snipes. I wanted stuff like Terra Uxie, truth be told, but it just is what it is. So I'm trying to round everything out, and I know I need a steel type. Outside of that, I'm looking kind of specially weak, right? Kind of frail on some of my mons. Yes, I can throw an AV on a Hydreigon or a Mienshao or an Alamomola, but then I don't get to run the Wish. Then I don't get to run the SD or the Stealth Rock or whatever. So I wanted a mon that I knew could take special hits. So I go with Goodra Hisuian. Now, Goodra Hisuian isn't like your traditional steel type in the sense that it doesn't resist fairies. It is neutral to it. But with the base 150 SPDF, doesn't really matter if you're neutral or not. It's going to be a pain in the ass to wear this thing down. Outside of that, I can throw an AV on this thing because of its coverage moves. It can hit on both the physical and the special side. And because of that, I'm very excited to try out Hisuian Goodra. I think it's going to be a real fun mon. Now granted, it doesn't give me the momentum, it doesn't give me the rocks, but it does give me glue, and it gives me gooey. Maybe I should have said it gives me goo. I don't know, I was trying to mix glue and gluey, or gooey rather. Gluey, that's what I should have said, yeah. But overall, I like Hisuian Goodra. It gave me the steel type that I talked about, so I'm not having to worry about maybe a poison type that wants to come in and just click toxic against stuff like my Regenerator Core and Mola and Mienshao. Maybe I'm not the Terra Poison on Hydreigon, so having an immunity to that's really nice. Thunderbolt rather, is probably what I'll be running. Surf, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, of course Draco gives me detail for being able to phase stuff out. Flamethrower, Flash Cannon, Heavy Slam. It could be physical, could be special, and I love its bulkiness. So second to last pick, I want to go ahead and snag my last Terra Captain, and I go ahead and snag Bellybolt. I think Terra Bellybolt's going to be really cool. Looking at it, I mean, obviously I've seen Pokegame use it. It's a bulkier mon than what I originally thought. 91 in defense, 83 in SPDF, 109 in HP. With my Terra type, I could Terra into an immunity against something. I could Terra into just a neutrality to take something like an EQ that's coming my way. And I have Toxic, right? Something this generation that is kind of null and void on a lot of mons. So being able to get just a little bit of chip damage with my Toxic, maybe that allows me to click the U-turn with the Mienshao, knowing I can get chip damage instead of having to worry about clicking the reckless high jump kick or anything like that. It gives me the reflect. I get light screen as well, so it gives me screens. I have slack off. Chilling water, just being able to lower my opponent's attack by 1 is really nice. Discharge pairs are obviously really cool. Electromorphosis as an ability, it gains the charge effect when it takes a hit from an attack. 103 special attack, so nothing to really scoff at. Being able to go for the discharges, the thunderbolts, once I get that electromorphosis, and more importantly, we have coverage to hit the ground types that would want to come in and take that electromorphosis boosted attack. So I love that with an electric type. It gives me more momentum in Volt Switch. It's got a couple other little fun moves that I think will test out throughout the season, right? I like to still have fun. I want to win. I want to compete, but I like to have fun first and foremost. So, really excited for Belly Bolt. Next pick, I'm going Decidueye. We are the Drunken Fist Decidueye, so I felt that it was only natural. I didn't really think that regular Decidueye was something that fit properly on the team, so I went with I didn't think Hisuian Decidueye, right, our Drunken Fist logo, is something that fit as naturally on the team. So I went with regular Decidueye. Another mon, again, I've never used, but I think it's going to be fun. It gave me Defog. This is something that I did not have up at this point. Yes, we have the court change on Cinderace, but I don't want to not get up my own hazards in fear of transferring them back, right? Maybe my opponent brought rocks and I brought spikes. I don't want to give myself spikes for exchange of rocks. I know I have Levitate on a couple mons, I'm Flying type on an Amorous, but that may not be ideal for me. So I wanted something to just wipe away hazards. Decidueye getting Defog is huge. Speed tier 70, right? Not the best, but also not the worst. Especially whenever I can boost up with something like the Swords Dance and hit super hard on the physical attacking side. I've got the Poltergeist, I've got the Spirit Shackle. Very spammable physical ghost moves is awesome. I also have the Nasty Plot. So base 100 in my special attack, plus 2 in my special attack. You know, I've got hard-hitting moves. I've got the Leaf Storm. I've got Shadow Ball. I've got the Hurricane, truth be told, the Hex, right? I've got T-Spikes on Mew, so that may be a thing. And I have Toxic on Mods. So it could be really, really cool. I think I could catch my opponent off guard with like a band set or a scarf set or specs or something like that. It's not just pigeonholed into being my Defog Rooster. Gives me speed control with some Trailblaze. Again, more momentum in U-turn. So really excited for Decidueye. Gave me a grass type, gave me a ghost type, right? Earthquake looked pretty free against my team. I do have the Enamorous, I have the Dragon, but both of them are naturally weak to ice type attacks. So wanted to just make sure I had a grass type and then ghost type as well, being able to block rapid spin because I do have rocks, I do have spikes. So yeah, that is going to be your Season 1 draft analysis for the Drunken Fist Decidueye for Draft Jam 1. I apologize if this is a little wonky. My wife and I just had a baby, so I am exhausted. I am tired, but I am man, hear me roar, huh? I am your coach, the Pokemon Professor, and games will be uploaded on Saturday. I love you. I'll see you soon. Bye.